I'll be brief. Hi, Jimmy. How are you? Sure. Did a nice job cleaning the city for the last week. I don't know what's happened in the last few days, but
Staff has done a good job.
absolutely, especially immediately after the storm and preparing for the storm. You're to be commended. My name is Mitch Novick, and I just want to say I support the Ocean Drive closing time rollback. I have a few short comments regarding my bogus arrest for borrowing dirty rags from my neighbor, Mangoes. Upon investigation, the state attorney's office dropped this matter, stating it was never serious and was problematic due to the fact that I had several witnesses, former and current employees, who were willing to testify on my behalf. As far as the Miami Beach Police Department's investigation is concerned, there was none. This was a quid pro quo in favor to David Wallack for the gifts he's made to the Miami Beach Police, which include a $10,000 ATV in January, as well as highly trained and very expensive police dogs in recent years. I believe Chief Oates has damaged his credibility and, unfortunately, the respect of the fine men and women of the Beach Police Department. And back to the Ocean Drive rollback. Just last night, there were two frightening incidents that the public should be made aware of. At 3:45 a.m., there was an armed robbery at 13th and Collins Avenue. The victim was robbed at knife point and subsequently stabbed in his hand. He received a laceration as well as knocked unconscious. He was taken to Mount Sinai for the laceration on his hand, in addition to contusions to his head. A half hour later, Miami Beach Police Department attempted to stop a stolen car near Ocean Drive. A pursuit ensued. A major crash along Washington Avenue occurred. The suspects bailed out. There was a foot chase, and the apprehension was made at 5th and Euclid. They're all in custody. 3 people went to the Rider Trauma Center. I'm uncertain if it was the suspects or our fine officers. I would urge the community to rally behind this 2 a.m. closing time rollback. Ocean Drive has become a cesspool of lawlessness. It's a mecca of criminality, and things need to change. Primarily the zoning, which serves much like a magnet, which lures in all the riffraff, which is destroying our community. This past year, we've seen scores of national retailers flee. International tourists know not to come here. And residents, there's an exodus. And again, I support the closing time rollback along Ocean Drive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. Mitch. I heard, I just learned. Mitch, we're coming out with our own set of Mitch Novak. We're coming out with our own set of Mitch Novick hand towels, okay? That I'm gonna be merchandising them.
As long as they're sanitized, I
They're
approve.
fully sanitized, and they're only available on Ocean Drive, okay? All right, sir.
Out as part of the 10-point plan, it only affected at the time, I think, 5 establishments, and really it was an eye towards trying to preserve the Palace. And so since the Palace is no longer there, so they could do their performances, we had the tables on the east side of the sidewalk. I don't know that we need to have this exemption any further.
No.
So you
There's currently only 3 venues left that have this exemption.
And
What
which
are
of
the
those
3?
venues?
It's Mangoes, Voodoo, and Starlight,
Okay.
of which 2 have majority of their business operating on the outside. Mangoes has inside and outside.
So what are we doing? What does that mean?
I think we should get rid of the exemptions and have everybody move
Yeah, the right way.
closer to the buildings so that
I
there's...
think so.
at least-
Ricky, you okay with that? Isn't our plan? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think everyone feels the same way. Mitch, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I support your amendment moving everybody to the west. However, I believe Ocean Drive has deteriorated to such a crisis level that it would not be unreasonable to remove all the tables, chairs, umbrellas, retractables, and other clutter until public safety is restored. Many of these businesses feel they're entitled to our public right-of-way. They should invite their guests and customers inside. And again, we should revisit this at a time when public safety is restored. I don't
You
see
need
that.
to have faith. It's going to be beautiful.
Gotta have
you-
faith.
Give us a little
You know,
time.
Joy, I've been at this for 3 years, and I've been watching it deteriorate since the zoning inception. I was here before the opening of the Clevelander, which was the first outdoor entertainment
Me too.
establishment. Now it's a cancer, and it's spreading throughout our community.
Yep.
And until the party, the carnival-like, crime-ridden circus is removed from the street, there's not going to be any improvement.
Well, Mitch,
And I have faith.
I do. So I think that we all, Kristen, one second, I think that we are going to have a very important question that the residents of Miami Beach are going to answer in November
Yes.
regarding liquor. I think that Commissioner Ariola has spent a lot of time with this 10-point plan that they're implementing.
You need to remember that 10-point plan was crafted primarily, admittedly crafted by Mango's and the Clevelander. I don't share
Not true.
the same
Mitch,
faith.
that's not true.
Not true.
Come on,
I'm
your
taking- that's
not
footnote's
true.
right in there, Ricky.
Mitch, I'm taking
Hey,
my
Mitch.
towel. I'm taking my towels back.
Mitch,
Okay.
Mitch, that's an absolute falsehood.
No, it's your
I did it.
footnotes-
I did it, so I know, and you weren't there.
They play
so,
a role,
you
and
know?
they're lobbyists.
All right.
Monica and
Guys,
yes, they
guys,
do.
Those-
it's all good. It's all good.
Mr. Mayor,
Well, I'm
if I
gonna
may?
I'm going to let the commissioner speak first, and then I'll have you speak afterwards.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Who can I ask a question to about this? So does that mean that those 3 exemptions, they're going to lose all of their sidewalk cafe tables?
They're probably going to have to
many?
minimize based off of where their means of egress are. So they won't have the same footprint based off of their doors. If they have doors that lead into their cafes, they're not going to be able to put them in front of there. They have to keep with fire code.
Chris, remember the gauntlet. We're getting rid of the gauntlet for everybody.
I know, but when I was there this one time and I walked it, I think it would be very punishing, given if you are going to close everybody down at 2 a.m.
That's
to
not- we don't
reduce
know that
their.
yet.
Well, we don't know that, but it's going to a referendum. I just feel like how much more can they withstand? We just had a storm. We lost business for several weeks. Now we're going to take, what are the 3 operators again?
Starlight, Voodoo, and Mangoes.
I can't speak to Starlight and Voodoo, but I do know the configuration of the street. I don't think there's anywhere else for them to put their tables. I mean,
I think.
I will just add, because it's a matter of public record, I mean, Starlight and Voodoo, are chronic violators of city codes. So, I mean, they haven't been the best, neighbors. And Mango's, I think maybe you're speaking to Mango's, but they do so much business inside. I don't know that this is going to have a big impact on them.
All right,
If I
please,
may,
feel free.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, Monica Enton, Burka, Riddell, Fernandez, and Larkin, offices at 200 South Biscayne Boulevard, representing Mango's Tropical Cafe. To address the question that Commissioner Gonzalez just posed and what Commissioner Ariola just mentioned, they would actually lose a lot of business because a lot of Mango's business is done on Ocean Drive and it is done on the sidewalk, Mr. Mayor. The current configuration of the building, it's not only the openings where we actually have the door openings to Mango's, but the door openings to the retail establishments, but we also have a step up all the way along Mango's. Mango's, even the retail, is not flush with the sidewalk. So you already have a step up before you get to the actual retail components. So moving the tables to the west is actually almost virtually impossible. They would lose at least, and unfortunately I don't have numbers in front of me, but I would say probably at least half of their seats at this point because they would be very restricted.
Right.
When we did the 10-point plan, we worked diligently with Commissioner Ariola and the city and the other members of that PAC at the time that we discussed the fact that there are businesses that financially would not be able to tolerate this change, and that that's why the exclusion was specifically to these 4 vendors. Now, I understand, as Commissioner Ariola indicated, that some of these people are continuous violators, but Mango's Tropical Cafe, outside of what issues they may have with Mitch and Mitch may have with them, there are no violations. They do not get violations for their activities. They work within the confines of the law, and I would ask that you allow the 10-point plan to do what it was supposed to do and give it the chance to operate before we take away these
Thank
exemptions.
you. All right, Mitch, before you talk, I mean, and of course, I think what we do is need to vote on it. My feeling is that you need to get rid of the exemption for everybody, and you need to make a level playing field. That was the vision of what we had up here to begin with. So you all can vote and decide what you want to do, and and let's kind of get to it, because we have a lot more business to do.
I'll be brief, Mayor.
Go ahead, Mitch.
The step-up Monica was referring to was introduced in the early 90s when Mango's was created. Originally, these were window openings that were blown out to create an elongated doorway along the facade. There's no reason why they can't reduce this footprint of the elongated step-up to just be an entry.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, if we're going to clean up Ocean Drive, let's clean it up. Let's just stop picking favorites and get it
Can
done.
I make a comment?
Sure.
Thank you. Ceci Velasquez with the Ocean Drive Association. If it would universally apply if all of the buildings were the same. But the fact is the buildings are not the same and they're not configured the same. There are retailers that would be damaged by this, not just the cafes or the restaurants. And I think that the City Commission needs to vet this out thoroughly since there's so many questions about what this would actually do. It was vetted through the Ocean Drive Task Force. It was vetted through the 10-point plan. So take a look at not only the Voodoo and the Starlight and Mango's, but who are those retailers that would be negatively impacted.
Great. Thank you, Cece. Okay, everybody. Tell me, are you okay?
Mr.
Ricky,
Mayor,
do
if
you
I could
wanna-
just say one brief
Yeah,
thing,
quick,
and I
Monica, you
apologize.
wanna
It's just, we're talking about that raise up. That step up is what prevented water from going into these retailers. In
Got
the
it.
time, the resiliency times that we're in, that step up is necessary.
Got it. Thank you. Ricky, what are you going to do here?
Yeah, no, when we first crafted this, it was really with an eye towards preserving the unique character of the Palace, because it was essential for them to be able to perform, their live, cabaret acts, to have this exemption. But now that they're no longer in business, I don't see the need to have this any longer. So I would say, for interest of consistency and uniformity, pedestrian experience, safety, et cetera, just move everything to the west.
Okay, that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we had planned to do. We've spent a lot of time doing it. Is that your motion?
Yeah, I'll make
Is there
the
a
motion.
second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay. Got that, Mr. Clerk?
So 1 no, Rosa Gonzalez.